During the webinar, we will go over how companies are using EDI to simplify business operations in their organizations. We hope you find the presentation helpful. I'm here with my co-host, Keith Hath. Keith, are you there?
I am, thank you.
Excellent. Before we kick things off, I'll remind you that the event is scheduled for an hour today, and if you need to leave or drop off at any point, we are recording the event and we'll send out the link afterwards, so you have it. You can feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation, and we'll have team members on the line to answer them, and we'll also try to go through a Q&A portion at the end of the event as well to answer them live. All right, here's our agenda for today. First, we'll give you an introduction into help systems and an overview of the GoAnywhere MFT solution. Then we'll dive into what's new in GoAnywhere MFT, including the EDI-related features. And then finally, we'll cover with a live demo and end with some Q&A. All right, let me introduce you to our presenter. Keith Hath is a senior solutions consultant here at Help Systems, working with the GoAnywhere Managed File Transfer product line. Keith provides pre-sales support specializing in demos and proof of concepts. He is also a member of the professional services team, providing additional training and assistance with our GoAnywhere users. Thanks for being here, Keith, and you can take it away.
Sounds good. Thank you, Angela. All right. Well, I just have a few slides to run through. Just give me a quick background about our company, just in case it's one of your first webinars with us. With Help Systems, we started back in 1982. It's over 35 years ago. Our focus is to help deliver some key solutions around cybersecurity, automations, and operations management solutions to organizations of all sizes, including SMB, government, and Fortune 500 companies. We have over 770 employees. We're actually over, I think, 800 now. We keep on growing here with over 25 offices worldwide. The majority of the GoAnywhere team is actually located in Ashland, Nebraska, just south of Omaha, with our headquarters located in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, so the Minneapolis area. We also have our GoAnywhere research and development team. They're very, very active. They have a very active schedule with 2 to 3 major releases a year. Many, if not most of those updates are primarily based on the valuable feedback we actually get from our user base. And we truly pride ourselves here on providing our customers with the best customer service. We offer support via email, phone, online chat. We do offer support around the clock, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year if needed. And as a testament, around our excellent support team, plus with our solutions and the service we provide, we have almost a 99% retention with our current customers. And just note that we are also a member of the PCI Security Standard Council, which helps us to keep up to date with the latest security requirements and really helps us ensure that our products stay compliant. This is just a quick list, but we have many strategic partners like IBM, Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, PCI, VMware. Our partnerships provide us with the technical resources and the latest releases that we can test with, making sure we are staying current with the latest changes and the requirements. And this is just a quick sampling list of some of our customers. Help Systems has over 17,000 customers worldwide. And with GoAnywhere, we have over 3,000 customers across the board from different industries, like financial, insurance, healthcare, education, and so many more. We have GoAnywhere installed from small IT shops, mid-range to large IT shops. And we're there to help you out, and we're scalable to fit your needs. If you would like some references, we can work with you guys. We can possibly get some references close to your geographic location or maybe within your industry. All right, enough of the company background. Let's talk about GoAnywhere. GoAnywhere MFT is a managed file transfer type of solution. It's a solution that will help you transfer your files securely through batch jobs and ad hoc requests. GoAnywhere is pretty much OS agnostic. You can deploy GoAnywhere MFT solution on-prem, in the cloud, on platforms like Microsoft Azure and AWS, or within a hybrid environment. Our secure managed file transfer solution runs easily on platforms like Linux, Windows, AIX, the IBM I, and more. Let's say today you install it on a Windows, and later you want to move it to a Linux server. No problem. You do have that flexibility. With the built-in auditing, your file movements, both inbound and outbound, are being tracked and written to a log file, capturing information about the documents, the user, the IP address. Plus, GoAnywhere is also tracking both the administrators and your users when they log into GoAnywhere. It has an easy to use graphical user interface that's web-based. It's pretty intuitive. It looks great, allowing you to use the browser of your choice, like IE, Firefox, Chrome, supporting the easy to use drag and drop functions, double clicking. Plus, within the product, at a click of the button, you can get outstanding detailed help, usually with several examples to assist along. GoAnywhere can be set up both as a client, first of all, where you're initiating the file transfer, the push and pull of documents, but GoAnywhere can also be set up as a server, a listener for those inbound services, allowing your trading partners and customers to come to you to pick up or drop off files based on their permissions. You have options to encrypt or decrypt the documents utilizing our built-in KMS, key management system. And you will be able to manage and lock down your administrator's capabilities by selecting a combination of 17 different roles, really defining their permissions of what they can see and what they can do within GoAnywhere. Our goal, with GoAnywhere MFT is to help you automate and secure your file transfers. It's a solution that will help you save time and money, improve security, and really simplify those file transfers from server to server, person to person, and really anything in between. Within the MFT here, within our workflow automation, you can easily encrypt, secure your data, send the encrypted file out as needed. Within the built-in security, the encryption, and the auditing that we're doing, the tracking there of your users and the file movement, GoAnywhere can help you be compliant. GoAnywhere has several built-in features. It's all kind of a centralized solution for you. And one of the key features is the ability to encrypt your data. Built right in within GoAnywhere is that centralized key management system, the KMS, as I just mentioned just a little bit ago. But GoAnywhere can actually help you manage your PGP, your SSH keys, and your SSL certificates, allowing you to easily create new paired keys or import your existing keys or maybe your trading partner's public keys that you need to use for encryption. Quick example of the encryption process, you got that raw file coming in, you encrypt it with that public key. So now you have the encrypted file of which you can send out, maybe through an email, through an FTP type process, whatever it is you need to do. And then the other direction, when your trading partner sends you the encrypted file, automatically you can take that file, decrypt it with your private key, and then place the file in that target location. And just to add one more piece of encryption, there's an option to also use encrypted folders. Users, like your trading partners, can drop off their documents using GoAnywhere, of which are then automatically encrypted at rest with AES 256-bit encryption. And then using GoAnywhere to automatically decrypt the documents when you pick them up. Either way, it's going to be very seamless to the GoAnywhere users. Besides encrypting and moving files, within GoAnywhere's workflow automation, you can also use the data translation function, which allows you to easily read and write several types of documents from CSV, flat file, JSON, and other documents like XML and EDI X12 files. You will be able to read in data and easily write to an Excel spreadsheet. You can use an Excel template that already has those customized worksheets where you previously defined those titles, headers, colors, and more. Plus, you have the ability to control the fonts and data formatting. And if the data you have there should be appended to the existing data or simply just replace it. And within this screenshot here, there's the opposite, the reading of an Excel spreadsheet. You can define the documents and sheets that you want to read in, plus define or set that row number where you want to start reading at, and how you want to format that data. Take that data, maybe modify it, and then write it out to a database table, another Excel spreadsheet, or some other type of document. The choice, really is yours. My question for you all is, do you need to meet industry, state, or privacy laws and maybe some regulations within your organization? most commonly I would say the answer is yes to that. Ensuring your file transfers are 100% compliant is a very important step in preventing data breaches, heavy fines, and public distress, right? Using our secure file transfer solution, GoAnywhere MFT, we can help you become more compliant or be compliant. And how we can do that, we have a lot of different areas, and I have a handful listed here, where GoAnywhere can help you manage and secure the exchange of private data, again, in order to help you be compliant with those regulations like HIPAA, SOX, PCI, GDPR. Things like it's an on-prem solution that's all centralized. It has the ability to define your admins with 1 to 17 role-based permissions, detailed audit logs, detailed audit reports even, and reports like around PCI security settings, granular user permissions, that built-in KMS, the key management system, again, to help you manage your keys. Several secure file transfer options like secure FTP, secure copy, including being FIPS 140-2 compliant. We also offer like secure email, a web portal utilizing HTTPS and other options to help secure data in motion and at rest. We have reports, nice detailed audit reports, such as around PCI security settings, as I mentioned earlier, that can, again, run over and check your environment, check things out, and make sure you're compliant that way. Granular user permissions, the auditing, a detailed audit log, tracking that file movement, both inbound and outbound, along with the users, the admin, and the end users when they log in to GoAnywhere. And if you want additional information around compliance, we do have some additional information on our website that is available to you. We're at version 6, and with version 6 of GoAnywhere, we've added quite a few different areas out there, and hopefully these are some key new features that'll help you take a look a little deeper into GoAnywhere. First thing is talk about our resources, and just so you know, these resources, really the server that you need to connect to for pushing and pulling files from. We are now supporting PSET file transfers, upgraded NetEDI to version 4.1 within our designer, within the automation workflows. We have enhanced the X12 data translations, the reading and writing of EDI X12 files. And there's more to come in that here in just a little bit. Within the administration, you can now define granular permissions. So it's more than just 17 roles for your admin users. More granular about the actions that these admins can perform, maybe getting down to the add, the update, delete, view, etc. And maybe the objects they can actually access, like users or reset the password option. To be able to promote, to move a project, a workflow, or a resource from one installation of GoAnywhere to another. So again, you can be more granular if needed. Around the reports, we've added the ability to specify SLAs, service level agreements, for monitors where you can monitor a folder, triggers based on events on your server, and even the projects themselves. Make sure they run X number of times a day. And if that job fails to meet that SLA requirement, we can perform some specific action right away. Maybe email somebody else or run a different project, a workflow to do something. Built-in SMS and email, one-time password for our users logging in. We've had multi-factor authentication for a little while now with Radius, but now what we've added now is the ability to, where you don't need to use Google Authenticator. GoAnywhere can send a 6-digit code if enabled via text message or an email. Just another option for you flexibility-wise. We also have a new GoAnywhere desktop client for agents and secure folders. And for additional information about what's new, check it out. We have information on our release notes out there available also on our website. In version 6, we introduced EDI X12 data translations. This enhancements because it will make it easier for you to read and write the EDI X12 files using GoAnywhere. If EDI is new to you, EDI is the electronic data interchange. Think of this like as a flat file formatted document that trading partners use to send and receive business transactions. And AS2 is commonly used protocol for transferring these EDI files securely over the internet. A concept of business, electronically, basically communicating information, very commonly used, by retail or distribution and warehousing organizations. Within GoAnywhere, we have combined the best of both worlds, an MFT and EDI solution, both centralized into one solution that allows you to read, to map, and to move files. We now have settings for EDI X12 loops and segments to evaluate the condition before a loop or segment is being processed. And you will be able to translate, yes, the EDI files, of course, but also XML files too. We have, with all the different EDI files and all the different versions out there of each of those files, we actually support over 6,800 EDI X12 data transactions. So we have a lot that you can pick from as you guys need to. And using our browser-based mapping tool, we did make it easier. Simply drag and drop type of actions. Within the automation workflow, basically choose the task that you need to perform, such as an EDI read. You can then read in your EDI, let's say 850 purchase order, using the correct version, like a 4010. Using the data mapping wizard, you can then map up, extract the data as you need to, as shown down below here. This image here is reading in the 850 4010, and then we're able to parse it out, map out the information into a row set variable or variables if you have multiple data that you need to extract. You can then take that row set variable containing that EDI X12 data and then write the data into a database table or another file type, such as Excel, a fixed width, or CSV, without having to write cumbersome scripts or programs. Just another quick example, going in the other direction. Reading your data and using the mapping wizard to take your data and then build and write out your EDI file, such as this EDI 850 file, this purchase order. In the upcoming demo, I will show you our marketplace where you can actually go out there and browse through all the different EDI formats, select the ones you need to install, and then start utilizing them within your workflow. Just got one more slide here to run through here, or a couple slides here. Like I mentioned, we are always improving our solution. We have 2 to 3, sometimes even 4 major updates a year. Some additional features that we just recently added are additional EDI X12 transaction sets for version 002 and 003 here. We've actually added 8 additional languages. The ability to view the admin client using these 8 different languages that include like German, French, Spanish, there's Indonesian, Danish, we have Japanese, Portuguese, and Chinese. With this new language selection, we made it very easily now from the web client to select the appropriate language that you need to, rather than relying solely on the browser language settings. Added a read and write task supporting EDIFACT. You can now read EDIFACT files into a row set variable, which can then be used in a subsequent task to insert that data into a database table, or again, convert into another file format. Plus, you can read data from row sets and write out to the EDIFACT formatted file as well. We've enhanced the secure forms, giving you the new options around new configuration options like positioning of the forms button, overriding the button labels, characters remaining in the text areas, and more. And the last thing this slide here is about adding an option for a warning, a timeout warning that'll appear 1 minute before a user session expires. When a session expires, the user will automatically be redirected back to the login page. And just so you know, this is actually for both the admins and the web user accounts. Time for a quick walkthrough GoAnywhere. All right, so first of all, what you're seeing here, I'm logged in to my system here using HTTP right now, port 8000. Each of your admins, so this is the admin or administrator point of view that you're looking at right now. And each admin, when they log in, they'll have their own personalized dashboard. You can lay it out any which way you want. They're there, not a problem. But we have 26 different gadgets that you can pick and choose from to display the information that you want to see when you first log in. Think of this like a good morning report. Again, when you first log in, what's happening on your server, what has recently happened, etc., to get that warm, fuzzy feeling that things are working pretty good. If you have customers coming to you guys, you can quickly see your different servers, different listeners that are up and running. Yes, they're all up, we're good to go. Your different jobs that have completed and their statuses. So you can hear the last 30 days, we can see the activity around those completed jobs. Quick links for navigation. News and tips, recent activity around the triggers, even the users when they're logging in, etc. So we have, like I mentioned, 26 different gadgets that you get to add on your dashboard. Each of your admins will have their own little dashboard that they can view and access right away. Regarding the administrators, again, they're here to help you set up and manage GoAnywhere's, the users, set up these workflows, and that kind of leads me to the next section here in the sense of the workflow, when you want to actually push and pull files from your different servers. So the first place I want to talk about in the sense of these workflows is really kind of comes down to two areas. The first one's resources. These resources are the servers that you define that you want to connect to do that pushing and pulling, or to set up monitoring of files. And you can see all the different resource types that you can actually set up. Maybe you have an Amazon S3 bucket, again, where you want to pick up some files or drop off files, not a problem. You come out here, you set up that resource. It's one location for you to set them up and maintain them, so it makes it really easy. To give you a quick example of the Amazon demo one here, you set it up. You can define the key, the passwords, and all that, and you can test out that connection. Make sure you get to that door and that the door opens up just fine for you. And blue is good. So we know we're there. We know we're able to connect up to that server, again, to help you out with that pushing, pulling of documents. Going down the list, you can see all the different ones out there. Get Azure Blob Storage, again, set them up. Database servers. Maybe you need to connect to a certain database out there to query some tables that you have out there. Maybe on an Oracle, a SQL Server, an IBM. Set that up, query those tables and take those records and move them where you need to. Going down the list here, you're going to have a lot of different options out there. Network share is a very common thing. Define that network share as a resource. You have REST and SOAP servers that you can connect to. Within the SSH servers, you can define that SFTP server, define that server with a good name so you know exactly what server you're going to, what trading partner it may be. Set them up, define the the name or the URL, the IP address, the port number, the listing on, password key, whatever's required. Again, test it out. Make sure you can get to that server. So we know we're good. What you can also do is set up some automatic retries, some recovery options. In this example, let's say you're in the middle of a large file transfer, it's going to say we have a timeout of 15 seconds. I can automatically retry to connect up 5 times, waiting 5 seconds in between each attempt. Hopefully it's able to reconnect up. If so, it's going to pick up where it left off in that file transfer for you. Some nice options there. And then depending on the target, your server you're going to, do they have certain proxy types or certain algorithms that you need to use? But very nice here too as well, this contacts tab. Since you are going to a targeted server, if you have a problem connecting to that server, here I'll centralize who you can call, who you can reach out to if you do have a problem. It's right there for you. So step 1 here again, set up those resources of where you want to trade files to and from, or set up some monitoring to eventually pick up some files. Step 2 is really about set up these workflows, these projects that you want to move some files around. But before I get into that, since we're kind of focused on EDI and all that, I want to show you something as well. I want to jump over really quickly into the system and into the add-ons here, where you can actually browse our marketplace. From this marketplace, you will be able to then install different things, such as these different cloud connectors. So you may have a need for some of these cloud connectors. I think we have at least 36 of that, over 36 now, ranging from different things from Azure, Box, Dropbox. We have some of the popular ones are down further here. We got GoDrive, Microsoft Dynamics, OneDrive, etc. So it's a lot you can communicate to or with within the workflows. And what I'm focused on here today is around the EDI. You can easily come out here to do the EDIFACT and install those from the marketplace as you need to. The EDI X12 translations here, these sets out here, we have a lot to pick from, depending on what you need to install. Let's say the 850 purchase order. And then what version do you need to install? Install that version, or versions if you have more than one. Another popular one, 997, the acknowledgements as well. So we have all these out here for you that you can pick and choose from, and then install just the ones that you need to. Once you have them installed, then you can start utilizing those really back in that workflow, the section, really the second section here. Going into our projects, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. On the left-hand side here, this is the folder structure that you get to set up, define how you want to. That makes it easy for you to maintain the different projects, different workflows you set up. So you can create as many folders and subfolders as you need to, again, by location, region, department, customers, etc. And to get started, it's actually pretty simple. You have an option to create a project. You can create it from scratch or take advantage of one of our several different templates to pick from. These templates can help you save some time or to learn from them, etc. But again, you can pick and choose what you want. You copy files, database to Excel. I'm going to scroll pretty quick. There's a lot here. Email to database, run some commands, native commands, etc. Merge files. There's a lot that you can pick and choose from, making it pretty easy to get started. Let's say you want to send a file. Maybe it's a single file, maybe it's multiple files using secure FTP. If there's something that you want to do or something really close to that, select that template. Give it a good name, something a little better than this one here, but also example SFTP put files. But something that makes sense to you for the project name and description, and then simply click on save. What happens at this point, it brings you right into design mode. So again, we're trying to make it easy, for most part, hopefully intuitive here. And what you're looking at, you have 4 panes to work with, and just really quickly, GoAnywhere does support variables. We have some included system variables that you can pull into your projects. The project section here, this is the attributes, like the parameter values of your workflow itself. The outline, this project outline. This came from the template. For most part, I wouldn't say it's top-down read, but you can build logic into it and do different things. But you can easily see that we're going to run through it, connect to a server, and put some files. This came from the template. It's not set in stone. You can modify it. You can add to it. You can delete things from it. This is, again, just a starting point. And if you want to add to it, we have this component library here on the left-hand side that you can pick and choose from. We have over 160 different tasks out here if you include all the different cloud connectors and everything. But what do you need to do? Maybe you need to compress some data. The database, SQL. Go out there and set up a query over one of your tables. The data translation. This is one area that we'll be focusing a little bit more here, just a little bit around EDI, but you can easily do some reading and writing. Read and write your EDI files, your XML files, etc. Emailing job logs, emailing the final encrypted report out, whatever it might be, you can easily incorporate that into your workflow. File transfers, secure FTP. When you click on those, you can see all the different actions and tasks that you can perform. Right now we have that one put in there. And just so you know, to add to this project, if you want to add some type of a task to it, you can do a double left click or also just a simply drag and drop, just kind of drop it in place. A right click gives you options, move it around if you need to, or even delete it if you don't need it, not a problem. So again, there's a lot you can do. Let's quickly kind of run through this one here and kind of walk you through this here. We have the connection to the server. And if you recall, we started with the resources at step 1, the targeted server you want to connect to. Once you define that server, it's available to you from a drop-down list, so you can select that trading partner, a customer, more customer, whoever it might be. Put files. I selected the multiple files there, so we're going to use a file set. You have the option also just to send a single file or pick up a variable through a variable, pick up a file locally, whatever it might be. I can navigate then to a directory where I want to grab some files from. And let me just quickly navigate to one of my folders out here. Let's just pick up outbound. And just to kind of show what's out here in outbound, we just have 4 files out there, but You can have as many as you need to, and just simply select it. You can define filters. So I think I have 4 or 5 files out there. If I define this filter, you can use a wildcard, expression, or date and size. So you're looking for those types of files, or possibly to exclude that type as well. So you have options, include, exclude. Let's say if I want to just include anything that is XLS, not a problem. You can add as many filters as you need to make sure that you get the right files that you're looking for. And then where do you want to drop them off? Since we're doing a put, step one was that connection to that server. When I click on those 3 dots to navigate, this allows me to actually automatically connect me to that targeted server. I'm on that remote server. I'm seeing the folders that I have permissions to, and I can simply select where I need to drop it off. So that's pretty simple that way. We do recommend error handling. So this template brought in an error module, and really quickly what this does, if something fails, this is kind of up to high level within the module. If anything fails, call this module. Note that you could abort, continue, just ignoring the error, or also set a variable value. I said probably the most common is this module, call a module. And we're going to call this module so you can see how it maps up. And then within this module, you can perform a lot of different actions. Again, you have that whole list over here on the left-hand side of which you can perform. You could put a delay and try again, or whatever you want to do to customize it. Or simply, but very effectively, send out an email to notify somebody that this project failed. Let me grab an SMTP server resource. You fill in your from and tos. Maybe you have some subject, some message information within the email. And by the way, this $ and curly brackets, we're utilizing variables. These are actually system variables. And they're very easy to bring in there. You just got to do it, drag and drop, double click just to bring it into it, and it'll fill in for you automatically. That's all there's to it. Validate it at a high level. Let's make sure it compiles just fine. Again, blue is good. You can even run it from within the design. Yeah, blue is good, so we know it ran just fine. And if you look at the job log, you're able to exactly verify we actually found 2 files out there as XLS, and we grabbed them and uploaded them just fine. So a quick little run through a little project there to, again, grab some files and SFTP them up to my server out there. Now, on the next workflow project, I want to talk a little more about the encryption and all that. So as I mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint there, we have a built-in KMS, a key management system, where we allow you to manage your keys, your certificates, your SSH keys, your PGP keys. Within this section here, you can easily create new key pairs, define the strength as you need to, or simply import, upload your customer's public key that you need to use to encrypt the data before you send it to them. Let me jump back here and let's walk through another project out here. We're going to grab some local files, encrypt them, and then using secure FTP to send them. Just note that with the flexibility of GoAnywhere and these projects, we can do a lot of different things. Here, we're actually creating a temporary workspace within this job. So files we can put into a workspace, hold them there temporarily, and at the very end, you can actually delete them, clean them up very easily. Create a file list. I'm going to go out to a certain folder, just like we saw earlier, grab all those files. We're going to include all the XLS, and using variables, I'm going to keep track of those files through a variable called files. It makes it easier for me to reference that within this workflow. So files at this point will contain all those files in that meet this criteria. If the count is greater than 0, so as long as we have at least 1 file out there, let's do something. Let's go ahead and encrypt those files. Here again, use that variable called files, and just to point it out, if that was blank, look to the right. When you create a variable, they're right there at your fingertips. It's easy enough to grab it, drag it in there, or double click on it. We're going to need to use that public key that you have in the key vault to encrypt the data, encrypt those files. So you select the right trading partner's key. We're going to use this key to encrypt those files that are in this list here, and then send them somewhere. Most commonly, you might just send them right directly to your trading partner. Simply just navigate down to it, select the resource and the resource name itself. I'm just going to throw them temporarily into this workspace, just to give me some different options. Those files that I encrypt, I'm going to put them into another variable called PGP files. Again, we're trying to make things a little bit easier for you in the sense of just using these names here. At this point, I want to send those files up to my ABC demo server, and I'm just using that variable name. It's going to grab all those files. If it's a single file, a dozen files, or 20 files, not a problem. Those files will all be encrypted, and now will be uploaded to that server. And then I can turn around and send an email out really quickly indicating what files were encrypted and sent out. And then, of course, I delete that space. If there's a problem, we got this error log. Again, you can validate it, and you can run it from within design. This will go through, grab those files, encrypt them, send them out, that easy for you. And again, this can be all automated. You guys should do this on a scheduled job, run it on a regular basis. The job log will tell you we got 2 files were sent out, all the detailed information behind it, etc. All right. Again, I'll have an email do coming in, but the email will just show me the 2 files that were encrypted there and sent out as a little confirmation. Now let's talk about the EDIs, the EDI examples we have. I have a couple out here, a couple of basic examples here. Let's just kind of run through them. We got the first one here, a read. And through this read, just to give you an idea, we got the file coming in. You have EDI file. There's a lot of different ways, like I said earlier, that the file can come in through variables, whatever it might be. The main thing here is we want to be able to read that EDI file. And under the data translations, we have the ability to read right here. Just drag and drop that into your workflow. As I mentioned, we have a variable, so we have a file being passed to me. We have this new data mapping wizard that allows you to map out that data. Don't be alarmed, this might look like a lot here already, but this is already set up. You have your EDI file, and then you have all your different row sets. You're basically going to extract the information out of your EDI file. Let's kind of pick on the N1 data, the name session here, and just drag and drop into that row set. So I want to grab the name information. Example, let's say if I want to add another row set. Let's maybe just move that up here. And let's say it's for tax information, so tax info. On the left-hand side, if I want to extract that out of my EDI file, I simply just drag and drop that into that row set. Whatever you need, pretty easy to drag it into it, right? Etc. At this point, you hit apply, and this information will be saved back into your workflow, and that which you can work with these different row sets. So you'll see that we have N1 data, we have package data, etc. And here's the package data, the N1 data, all right there for you. The next step is that since we have that data, you can turn around and write it out into whatever format type you need. So if I want to pick on the name and addresses, I'm going to use that N1 data row set variable and write it to this particular spreadsheet. I can override it. You have different options here that you can work with, etc., to customize it even further. But I'm very easily able to extract information out. Again, validate it, make sure it looks good, and even run it from here. And we're going to go out there again, grab that EDI file, read it, and then write out the information. And you'll see in the job log that each of those files are being created. Go in the other direction, same type of concept. So if I go down and do the write of an 850 example, we're able to take that information that you already have. So think of these different tasks, your different tables, different file sets, documents you have of that information that you need to write into your EDI file. You define them into row set variables. So here you're going to create that row set from your existing documents. Here we have a text file read in, put it into a beginning data row set. The N1 data row set, etc. Then we come down to that write task. That also came from over here, the read and write. And we're going to write out to this file using that row set through this wizard. And what you would start with, you would have your 850 purchase order, and you have your row sets, and you simply just go ahead and select it, and then drag and drop it into where you need to map it up to. So your package data, the N1 data, etc. So here you do the map in the other direction instead, building this EDI file. And then when you run it, of course, the data will be extracted from your files, written into your EDI file as needed. And just to elaborate a little bit more, further on here, just to tease you a little bit in the sense here, let's grab this one here. You could have it, 850 coming in, you go through the 850, you parse out that data, do the same type of thing where you're writing out to the EDI file or reading the EDI file, then maybe you need to actually do a write to a 997 file. So you can do the same thing there. Here we call a 997 module, which will set that up, but then going to write to the 997. Same type of concept, using data mapping wizard. You map it up, you create that document as you need to. We do have some great help along the way. I think I mentioned earlier about, I'm going to write this one, about the built-in help, the right EDI. So wherever you're at within the product, we do have some nice detailed help to help you out, walk you through some really good examples besides the great detailed information above it. It's right there, right at your fingertips, not a problem. Then set to the edifact. You can type it in there and bring up all the information there. So again, the read and writes of the edifact task. We have a full index on the left-hand side. Of course, the searching capability over here. Depending on what you're looking for, you can find information pretty quickly. Besides, we have a great support team to help you out too along the way. All right, so once you have these projects set up, the next section really talks about how you can kick these off, how you can automate the processes behind it. We have a built-in scheduler. You can create and define a holiday calendar. Once you have that defined, and you go through to create a scheduled entry, a job to run, you can actually utilize that calendar. You would basically give that project, this job, a name, the admin that would run under, but more importantly, of course, the project that you want to automate. You simply can follow the wizard to navigate and select the right one. Jumping ahead, the scheduling. How often or when do you want this project to be kicked off, this job itself? Is it a one-time deal after startup, or maybe is it a daily, weekly type job? That says weekly. You define your start option and how often you want to run it in the day of the week. Maybe you have defined that holiday calendar. You come out here, select that calendar, and then define your rule. If it does fall on a holiday, do you want to run that job or skip it, run the previous day or next business day? Up to you. Email notification, if the job completes normally or if the job fails. Within the workflows you saw earlier, you can customize some emails there, but you can also do it here. And maybe that project itself has some variables you can pass to it. So you can create different jobs, different, the scheduled jobs to pass in different maybe resources, servers you want to connect to change that very easily. It's called the same job, but have a variable to accept the resource or the folder name you want to use, etc. The next thing is monitors. So you get your schedule, that fixed schedule basically. The monitors, I consider them like a soft schedule. And through a monitor, we're able to monitor a specific folder, a folder that's local to you through a network share or even a remote folder. You simply come out here, add a folder. Where is this folder located at? Maybe it's a local folder, through a network, whatever it might be. If it is, great, leave it there, and then navigate to your local folders, or through a resource that maybe is your network share or S3 bucket. Maybe it's a remote folder defined through a secure FTP resource. Select that. The screen will change, and then select that server, that resource you want to connect to set the monitoring. There's that ABC demo server resource we tested earlier. Then simply navigate on that remote server to select the folder that you want to set monitoring on. What you're looking at here is the key events. And think of it like a snapshot. Since the last time I checked, what has been created or modified? Has anything been created since the last time I checked, modified or deleted, or does anything exist? So those are the events you can base this monitor off of, along with the file type or file name, etc. Using a wildcard. I can say any file or any CSV file, whatever you might want to do there. You can also define a regular expression as well. The scheduling, as I mentioned, it's kind of a soft schedule by default, 24 hours a day. but you could just say, whatever, 6 to 6 or something like that pretty easily. How often do you want to check? Every minute, every 10 minutes, every hour, whatever it needs to be. And then the day of the week to check it. The project to run. So when this gets kicked off, you find some documents out there, what project to run and work with it. And to point out down below, we actually by default use a file list variable for the monitors. You're monitoring a folder. You could have 1, a dozen, maybe 50 files in that folder at this time that meet your criteria. Well, through this file list variable called files, files will be passed to your project that you run up here to go through each of those files, maybe to encrypt them, archive them, or just move them, whatever you need to do. Not a problem. Get all automatically. The advanced tab, we want to make sure the file's not locked, not in use. Email notifications, you can be notified if the monitor fails to get to that resource, that server you're trying to monitor, that folder. Be notified. Project success, project failure, you can be notified here as well as within the project itself. No files found. If by end of the day, I think I did 6 to 6 on this one, if no files were found by 6 p.m., you can send an email out because you know at least one file should have been there. Different things you can do there. The last thing this covers triggers. I'll come back here just in a little bit. As triggers really kind of deal for the most part, events that occur on your server, typically from users maybe connecting to you. So it kind of leads me into my next section here. Talk about those users, the web client, the web users, who could be like remote employees, your customers, your trading partners that need to come to you to upload or to download files. So you can set up GoAnywhere as that server, a listener for them. And the initial area here is really to come through and or so you set up that server manager, the different listeners, allowing them to come in on. So your different protocols, you define that, you start them up, of course, along with the port number behind it. And really, it's all about at this point, the users when they come in and what they see and what you set up for them. So let's say you do have the HTTP set up. This allows them to come through secure folders and access GoAnywhere from their point of view. They can come into a page just like this. You can customize the image and the logo and the disclaimer to fit your needs, as well as the options here. Can they reset their password? Can they create an account? Those are different options you can set up and enable. The user, again, this trading partner would log in and they would only be able to see what you really set up for them, as a sense of what they can see for driving to different folder structures and what functions they can perform. If you look on the left-hand side here, what you're looking at, this is we're going through HTTPS. This is considered your secure folders, and what it is within your users, the web users, we call them, and clients coming in maybe through the web or maybe through secure FTP using FileZilla. These users, you set them up. You define, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here, what protocols they can use, what features. So they can only use HTTPS and secure FTP, let's say, and then the actual modules within GoAnywhere. So if right now I'm showing you secure folders, so that would be checked there. Maybe you want them to be able to use secure email, etc. So the module you have installed and that they're able to utilize through GoAnywhere. But then more importantly after that, what folders can they see? When they log in, what can they see? And nothing else. I can't navigate anywhere else. So as an admin setting up this user, you can see the different folders here. Each user has their own default folder associated with their username, of which you can override and define a home folder, a home directory, and their immediate permissions on that folder. But what I like here is the ability to create virtual folders. These are the kind of pointers. The user, when they log in, they're all going to see this alias name. Underneath the covers, this is really where it's pointing to. Here we have a remote server. This one over here, it's a local drive. But again, the user never sees the actual path. They only see the alias, and they only can perform those permissions you set them up with. So if you want to allow them just to list and upload, that's all you have to do. Or maybe it's just upload only. Again, you can pick and choose the permissions as you need to. You can even define that disk quota if that needs an important area for you as well. Okay, so when we jump back to the user, so here are those same 4 folders. And as a user, I can quickly come in here and log in and then perform the actions that I'm allowed to. I can navigate to that folder, and then based on my permissions, what I can do on these individual documents. And I can, download, send to, delete, etc. Again, based on those permissions. If the customer wants to upload a file, they would simply just drag and drop that right into here and upload that file. Let me go so I can grab one real quick and just let it go. It's that simple to upload a file. What's nice here is this third piece of automation, which I kind of teased about earlier, called triggers. And I'll come back to it a little bit here, but a trigger is based on an event, again, such as an upload of a file successfully. And those triggers will be kicked off immediately then. So I'll come back to that in a second here, but again, that's been activated in the back end there. GoDrive. This is just like it's a file collaboration tool, a replacement for Box or Dropbox. So the similar functions there. You can actually have different versions of the file. You can share the file, etc. Secure email, to be able to email out your documents securely. And what you can do is you basically compose an email, you send out this email, and the user, the recipient, will receive a link, a secure link to download the attachment or attachments. It's through a secure channel. You can set up the download to be password protected. You could define how many days before this email package expires. You could define how many times they can download it and things like that. So again, nice secure way to email out your attachments, your documents. Oh, there's also no file size restriction. So if you're looking for a way to help send out nice, larger, secure documents, you can do that with this. A one-off is the ability to request a file. To give you an example of this, say you have that customer who wants to send you a secure file, but they don't have a quick means of doing that. You could actually send them a request file. Basically, they'll receive an email with a link to upload that file directly to your server. And then once they upload it, it actually would arrive in your inbox. So you can grab it and download it. Get nice and secure. It's all being tracked, all being audited. We also have, if you use Outlook, we do have add-ins or plugins there that you can utilize too. And if enabled, the user themselves can actually see their own activity report, see the actions that they've been performing. Here's the upload, download, etc. Going back to the administrator side, with all the different actions, different activity that have been performing, it's all being audited, all being tracked. So underneath the audit logs, we can see the action, the activity that I've been doing right now with you guys. So here we have the completed jobs where I ran those EDI file movements. Since I showed you through HTTPS, that file activity, here's the upload, the file that was uploaded. I can even go a little bit deeper and actually view the different IP addresses, that the user uploaded from. It's all right there for you. This information can be exported out pretty easily. You can also write out these auto logs to a syslog server if needed. And just to mention, I think I might have mentioned earlier, but we're also tracking the administrators. So you can see what we've been doing out here as well as an admin. Touching back on that triggers, which I kind of teased earlier about, this last piece of automation is to base it off of an event that occurred in your server. There's a lot of different types, account being disabled, disconnects, whatever it might be. And the one I did earlier was the upload successful. And within here, you can define what to do or what you're looking at for these events, such as this, maybe you want to send an email out to notify somebody that a file was uploaded. You can base off of certain protocol types, pick and choose what you want, any combination thereof or any service. You can even define rules. You could create a trigger for each customer, each organization, or each user, or different file types. Whatever you need to help define it and make it unique. Username, description, organization, so you can pick and choose. In this example, these all must be true. If they're all true, we're going to jump to an action where you can send an email out, rename the file, move the file, again, all automatically right away as soon as the event occurs. Here we send an email out. We have a bunch of system variables being pulled into it. And if you look over here, you have a little variable thing popping up. Just note that they're right there. Drag and drop right into your action here. Pretty simple. And that one there, I should have received an email. I have my email all closed, but I received an email stating what the user, who the user was that uploaded the file, and the name of the file, the size of the file, and really where the file landed, all automatically. All right, let me jump back here to kind of wrap things up with the PowerPoint. Just a quick recap. Again, we have a bunch of custom cloud connectors out there available for you, over 36 or at least 36 different custom cloud connectors, plus the ability to create your own. We also have that desktop client, another option for your users, a single application to allow them to access both secure files and GoDrive right there from the desktop. The file collaboration tool is that GoDrive option to you can replace Dropbox. And this interface really has the same look and feel as it does in the web client. And I'm going through quickly here, but another thing here, I know if the customer's coming in today, you could have another solution from help systems, maybe Robot Schedule, maybe some other solutions out there. Either way, we do offer another way to look at your information from a single pane of glass, another dashboard called Help Systems Insight. No additional cost for our customers under maintenance. And it's a great way to view multiple installations of GoAnywhere. So if you have 2 installations of GoAnywhere, you can view the information from a single pane of glass, plus the ability to help maintain other products from help systems maybe. And just for some reference out there, if you're looking at other MFT providers, there's a nice report available on our website that was done earlier this year by Infotech. So this link can bring right to it. We can download it and read it and really compare us to other MFT providers. I believe there's over 40 different MFT providers I looked at, and it was pretty cool to see that they rated GoAnywhere as a top leader in the data quadrant. So feel free to look at that report. You have the full report out there. And I'm going to hand things back to Angela.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Heath. We will have time for Q&A in a moment. We just have a couple minutes here, but thank you all for joining us today. And as a reminder, there will be a survey at the end. And if you have any additional questions or any questions that weren't answered as part of our Q&A here, since we only have a couple minutes, we will reach out to you and answer those after the event. So Heath, I do just have a question or two that I think we have time for. The first one here is, does GoAnywhere have the ability to protect data at rest?
Yeah, I did mention just a little bit earlier about the ability to protect data at rest. We have what's called encrypted folders, and we make it really easy just to walk through a wizard to set up that folder to be encrypted. And what it is, any file transfers using GoAnywhere, they will be automatically encrypted at rest with AES 256-bit encryption. And then as long as you use GoAnywhere to grab that file, it'll be decrypted to do it as well. It's that simple, very seamless to the users. If some user tries to go through a file explorer, the back door to get to those documents in there, those documents will remain encrypted. Thank you.
Yep, excellent. And then one last question here. Regarding installation, how simple is the installation and how much effort is needed to set it up?
Yeah, I did see that question too. We have some really great documentation to walk you through a quick download and trial. GoAnywhere typically takes about 5 to 10 minutes to download and install the application. It actually has an embedded Derby database, making that installation all that much easier and quicker to give it a spin. So it's very simple that way. Within our customer portal, once you register, you can actually download the software. You can also get documentation and even more. Then again, you can walk right through it. You can even work with us. We'll help you out to install it, make sure you get up and running. If you want to give it a trial, we can set up some POC time and maybe an hour or two to make sure that this product really fits your needs and answers your questions out there. Just to throw out a little curveball out there too as well, we're starting to dabble a little bit too. So if you go out to our portal, you may even see a little sandbox type of option around SaaS, where you can actually deploy GoAnywhere in the cloud just for evaluation purposes at this time, of which we here at Help System through GoAnywhere will help you manage the software itself, the updates and the backups.
Fantastic, that's a really cool feature. All right, as I mentioned, if there are any additional questions, feel free to post those in that post-webinar survey. Otherwise, thank you very much for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.